Hi, my name is Taylor Kelty, and I'm going to be going over my boards with you for the game design degree. So, starting with Objective 1, prototype and complete original games for multiple platforms following the game production pipeline. First of all, we got Monkeys in Space. This was a game developed by myself, Kevin Rogers, and Lacey Stoll. We wanted to make a board game that felt like Mario Kart. So we had an idea for, let's have characters go in a circle around something. They can pick up items. We found the best way to keep everybody moving in a good speed was to have them being chased by something or avoiding something. Overall, when the game was done, we had a nice, polished, fun to play game that we played multiple rounds with a bunch of different people, and it was a huge success. Next, I have Spaceship Man. This started off as a way for me to show my friend who had just started at UAT that you don't need to have a good idea to make a good game. You just need to have an idea to work off of. So we thought it would be really funny and stupid if the playable character was just photographs of me flying through outer space, fighting monsters and shooting fireballs at them and stuff. Which it's true. It worked. It was a funny idea, and then we realized, okay, well, we need to make the fireballs uh, more more crunchy. Like they need to feel better to shoot. They need to make a sound when they hit. And before you know it, we had a game that was actually fun to play. And then we started adding new enemies, new bosses. We put it up on itch because we didn't know what else to do with it, and it's actually made $20 so far. And I'm really happy to say that Spaceship Man 2 is now on Steam. The demo will be out pretty soon. But Steam recently gave me the green light to put Spaceship Man 2 on there. It's kind of funny that Spaceship Man 1 is not on Steam, and it won't be. And nobody will really know about it other than you, unless anyone goes digging through the internet to find the first Spaceship Man. Number two, create and implement game elements, systems, and play mechanics using industry standard tools, techniques, and production methods, including art or scripting, programming languages, applications. Sorry. Piranesi is a cool level that I made in Unreal Engine for Professor Markwood's advanced level design. I wanted to make a tower look like it was crumbling, so I got real familiar with Unreal Engine by making a three-story structure that was falling apart in the middle and collapsed at the bottom. It made for a very fun level to explore. I had to get real comfortable with Unreal. Archangelo is a game that I'm making in GameMaker and actually making part of it as my SIP. All of Archangelo is done with my own code as far as new abilities, the rotating camera system that became the bulk of my SIP, combat, and the lighting structure is actually an asset that I found online. I downloaded the asset and put it into GameMaker to give it some interesting lighting, but all of the art and all of the programming in this are done by me. Demonstrate effective game design practices and techniques within the project's scope and context, such as genre, style, platform, and audience. So, Chopsticks is a game that I made with my son, where the idea is we wanted to make Fortnite that you could play on the dinner table. And the most important thing that we considered going into this is the feeling of Fortnite. And the feeling of Fortnite comes from player expression, but everybody starts on the same playing field. So if you have $10,000 worth of skins that you purchased, you have no advantage over somebody who's never bought a skin before. And I think that's what makes Fortnite so compelling is that you can go all out in self-expression. And you can play against someone brand new who's never played before, and they could be way better at it than you. And that doesn't matter. It just makes that's what makes Fortnite so fun. So we wanted to make a game that has that feeling. So we figured if there's only one deck of cards that everybody at the table shares, then that way everybody's on the same playing field. And for player pieces, you can bring in your own Lego guy, your own Hot Wheels car, your own dice, your own ruler. Everybody's going to have their own pieces that represent them on the table, but everybody sharing the same deck or same deck means that everybody starts off on the same playing field. It's a fun game. Dingle is part of the game's tools or game's workshop for Professor Marquit. We were making a platformer in Construct 3. One of our assignments was to take what we've learned and make something interesting. So I turned all of the assets into silhouettes. I made it so you can't jump unless you have a coin, which turned it into kind of a parkour platformer puzzle. A lot of fun to play, and it looked way cooler than I thought it was going to. It had a nice minimalistic silhouette where you could identify the coins by the shape, spikes by the shape, a lot of shape identification. Just really fun game. Demonstrate the ability to evaluate game designs for a variety of gameplay mechanics, game applications, and game genres. So I'm including in this list a bunch of my favorite pieces that I've written for UAT, including what makes the Blue Hole and Dave the Diver such a great level, some other games that have great reward systems, like Vampire Survivors, Dice Forge, and Nier Automata. These are games that I thought rewarded players in really interesting ways, and I explained why I thought so. We also have like Slay the Spire, but without death. These are just documents that I think are interesting from terms of a game design perspective, and documents that I would show other game designers to show them some of my cool ideas that I think are articulated well, that establish that I know the right vocabulary, and I have a good idea about what I'm doing. Effectively articulate game design elements and mechanics across disciplines using written and verbal communication skills. This first one, Noble Effort, came from the Countercultures class. I did a bunch of research for the Animal Liberation Front, which is about people that break into slaughterhouses and animal testing labs to steal the animals back. So obviously what they're doing is illegal and highly controversial, and I thought that's the perfect premise for a board game. So when you click on that picture in here, it brings you to the board game, like how it's played. Similar for the work party, one of our courses we were tasked with making a multiplayer puzzle game. So we figured if Clue meets Taboo, it brings all the social aspects together of everyone either competing or working with each other, depending on how competitive you are. And taboo, meaning you can't say certain words. So if you were playing Clue, but you couldn't say certain words to the people that you're working with or against, you get a pretty fun puzzle game. And that's what this is. Nighthawkers is another one of Professor Markwood's classes assignments where we were tasked with making a co-op asymmetrical game. So I went with having one player that needs to rely on sound and the other player that needs to rely on defense and attacking and speed and all that. And they need to work together if they're going to get rewarded. That's Nighthawkers. Again, you can click on that one for the game design document. Same with Not an Alien. You can click on that one for the game design document as well. Anyway, finally, we're wrapping it up with Captain Boom, which is a Game Jam winner. It won for best soundtrack, and my friend's the one that made the music for it, but it was me and Brandon Leach as the artist and Joan Cruz as a designer. I was the programmer. We made a really fun game with the main topic was Breakout, and the bonus topic was Not the Main Character. It was runner-up for the best game at the Game Jam, but it did win for best soundtrack. And Professor Moore, who ran the Game Jam, got farther than any of the developers did, which was a pretty cool feeling. And also, I've been a tutor at UAT for almost 3 years now. I've been tutoring the Gen Ed subjects, so a lot of essay writing, a lot of math, and occasionally just a little bit of help with game design. Anyway, my name is Taylor Kelty, and this has been my boards for finishing with a game design degree. Thank you.